key laggards. Mid-caps underperformed today.
Tata Group's chairman emeritus Ratan Tata passes away at the age of 86. Leaders from the industry, political sphere and wide spectrum pay respect to the industry captain remembered for his global ambition, his passion for wheels and aeroplanes and his social contributions.
Adani Enterprises slips after launching its QIP but recovers late in trade. Sources say the company could raise up to 4,200 crore rupees. Separately, Kotak Mahindra Bank is the big mover on the index as the stock gains over 3.5% in today's session.
Hello and welcome to Markets Forward. It was a somber day on Dalal Street with the demise of Ratan Tata, and he's touched millions and billions of heart. Not just, even common man's heart was touched today. So we're all grieving that, mourning that. And markets too were very, very quiet. In the show today, we'll get you all the key data points to prep you up for tomorrow's trading session. I'm Reema, with me Nigel. Hi.
Well, that's right, Reema. The day belonged to Mr. Tata, right? Yeah. I mean, it was a somber day today, but society over profitability, that's something, that was a message that did come through. But let's run you through what went on in today's trading session. As Reema said, it was a quiet session of trade. We flittered between a 50-60 point gain to around a 20-30 point downtick as well. We ended with a gain of around 15 to around 20 points by the time we wound up. The big mover today was the banking names. The private banks in particular, they fired up. Kotak Mahindra Bank and HDFC Bank, both of them were up and about. And the Nifty Bank was an outperformer. It made up whatever it lost in yesterday's trading session. And on a closing basis as well, it conquered the 50 as well as the 100 DMA. IT and Pharma, though, they came in for profit taking, and there was a bit of a rotation that took place because in the last few months, tech has outperformed. Today, getting into those TCS numbers, well, we saw that tech was a relative underperformer, while Pharma index as well did pull back. There are some concerns ahead of the US election. We'll address that in just a bit. The advanced decline ratio, though, ended pretty much even-steven by the time we wound up, though the lines did come closer to each other.
So the mid-cap index ended in the red. Yeah. That was down about 0.25%. But the small-cap index managed to eke out a little bit of green. So that was up close to about 0.1%. But let's tell you what we have for you on our show today. We start with the top movers and shakers with homage. The stock of the day was Adani Entertainment, Credit Access and MAS Finance. We'll get you the reasons why these stocks were buzzing. And last but not the least, we delve into the key market events to watch out for. So as promised, it's over now to Hormuz. He's at the big wall with the top stock movers of the day.
A quiet day indeed, and there was some pressure in certain pockets, and Pharma was one of them. The day definitely did not belong to them. Losses led by Lupin and ending at or near the lowest point of the day, 5.5% lower for Lupin, and majority of the Pharma stocks ending lower in today's trading session. But it was a good day for the banking names led by Kotak Mahindra Bank, then ending 4% higher, and HDFC Bank, after declining in 7 out of the last 8 trading sessions, ending with a near 2% advance in today's session, ensuring that the Nifty ends in the green, and the other banking constituents too ending higher in today's session. Defense stocks had a very good day, led particularly by the shipbuilders. Masgaon Dock and Garden Reach were the prominent gainers there. Data Patterns, Bharat Dynamics also saw healthy gains after that cabinet approval that came in yesterday. A lot of stocks that reacted to news flow in today's session. VA Tech Wabag after the order win. Alchem Labs signed a new agreement today, but in line with the general sentiment around Pharma ending lower. Vodafone Idea, plenty of news flow through the day, and Power Grid too, after emerging as the lowest bidder for one of the transmission projects, ending higher in today's session. And lastly, a lot of the Tata Group names were buzzing today on heavy volumes. Tata Investment, Tata Chemicals all had healthy gains, and Hitachi Energy ending at the highest point of the day, 10% higher on very strong volumes. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much for that. Ambareesh, Bala and Shilpa Rout, the Prabhudas, Lilladher also with us on the show. Shilpa and Ambareesh, thank you for joining in. Shilpa, first, your thoughts on the day so far. Any trend that you've observed? The pickup that we've seen in banks, do you think it's sustainable?
Reema, the pickup in banks definitely has some sort of turnaround. However, close above 52,000 only will, confirm that this trend has changed. Otherwise, this bounce back rallies can again get sold into. So Bank Nifty is still a wait and watch. I will not go outright and, give a long recommendation at this levels. above 52,000, definitely yes. Otherwise, declines toward 51,000 again should be a good opportunity to go long. And likewise, Nifty is in a very tight range, 24,900 to 25,000. This 100 points, we have a cluster of support now here, and we are bouncing back again from these levels to 25,200. So that is how the setup is placed for both indices.
Okay, all right, Shilpa, thanks a lot for that. We'll come back to you with regard to stock calls, and let's get to the stocks of the day. The biggest mover in today's trading session was Kotak Mahindra Bank. It was a top gainer on the Nifty. Abhishek joins us to tell us what got the stock excited today. Abhishek?
Well, in the last few months, Kotak Bank had come under pressure on account of the fact that RBI had placed restrictions with respect to its credit card as well as online sourcing of business. So, to begin with, RBI had taken action on Kotak Mahindra Bank. RBI had asked Kotak Mahindra Bank to stop, that is in April 2024, issuing of new credit cards and onboarding of new customers via digital platform and online platform. So, that is the mobile banking app as well. Background is that there was significant concerns which had arisen for RBI with respect to the examination that they did of the IT of Kotak Mahindra Bank in 2022 and 2023. So failure on bank's part to address these concerns in a comprehensive and timely manner did make RBI take action against them. RBI had observed serious deficiencies and non-compliances which were observed, and credit card portfolio, just to highlight our viewers, stood at around 3.86% of the total loans, 3.76% of the total loans in Q1 FY25 versus 3.9% at the end of FY24. Back to you.
And like in every crisis, there's an opportunity. So we've taken this as an opportunity to really say how we'll really leapfrog and make our systems really resilient and relevant for the day, for the days to come. So I think we've made very, very good progress. Obviously, we've been in continuous touch with the RBI, sometimes even every week, updating them, getting their guidance, making sure we're on the right path. And I think we've made tremendous amounts of progress, and we'll continue to do it.
All right. Well, that was about Kotak Mahindra Bank. But Abhishek, you've got your hands full today. Tell us about Adani Enterprises. They launched their QIP.
Well, Nigel, sources do tell CNBC-TV18 that Adani Enterprises has launched a QIP. Now, the quantum is about rupees 4,200 and it is being priced at 2,962 per share, which is at a discount of 6.1% to yesterday's closing price and about 5% to the SEBI floor price that they had given in term sheet. So calculation shows that equity dilution would be around the 1.2 to 1.25%, and BRLM to this issue is ICICI Securities and others. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. Ambareesh, coming first on Kotak Mahindra Bank. If indeed, this regulatory overhang is lifted and some of these sanctions, restrictions are lifted, how much of an upside would it be in Kotak, a stock like Kotak Mahindra Bank? And is it a signal to go out there and buy the stock?
See, I would say that possibly the downside from here is limited. And if things turn for the better, especially on the regulatory side, I think it'll be possibly an end of a 5-year lackluster performance, because if you see in the last 5 years, the stock has moved up only about 200 rupees, which is, against that, you've seen most of the private sector banks doing well. All the PSU banks have done well. I think Kotak was the only one which hadn't. So we're just hoping that along with the regulatory news turning positive, as well as a new CEO turning a new leaf, as investors, we're just hoping that things should look up for Kotak. So I would say downside is limited, whereas the upside can be decent from here.
In the last 5 years, Kotak Mahindra's CAGR stock price is only 3%. If you look at it over 3 years, it's actually down 3%, just looking at the CAGR returns of the stock. So it's been quite a bit of an underperformer. Shilpa, Kotak Mahindra Bank, are you sensing a breakout?
Definitely, Kotak Bank today gave a very promising, up move. So from here, I believe it can definitely test levels of 1920 to 1940. If we sustain above 1840, the chances of testing levels of 1940 to 1980 can also, cannot be ruled out as well.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Let's get to the sector of the day, and there was Pharma. The Nifty Pharma Index stumbled nearly 2%. Vinny's joining in with the details. Vinny, what were the triggers for the sector to underperform?
Yeah, so what we are seeing that reports are suggesting, and this is from agency reports, where U.S. Center for Medicare and Medicaid had released a preliminary list of 101 generic drugs, and these drugs will be available for no more than $2 for the months supplied to these under the Medicare channel, which is there and which they supply drugs in the U.S. market. Now, according to this, the list has some of the names like penicillin is there, lithium is there, albuterol is there, which is for an asthma inhaler. There are drugs for high cholesterol in this, blood pressure, and other chronic diseases and conditions are also included in this. So yes, we're seeing that this agency is seeking a feedback following its pilot launch, and they are expected to start this as early as Jan 2027. Now they aiming to test a simplified approach for offering low-cost generic drugs, and this can improve furthermore in terms of medication adherence in the global markets. So what they want to focus on and what analysts are highlighting, there's a bit of a clarity that they're still seeking in terms of whether this is going to be a direct tender procurement of medicines, then maybe a possibility of an impact that could come in on the Indian pharma companies, and that is what is causing some bit of a pressure. While some of the analysts have also highlighted that this is maybe to maintain the final retail price at which the drugs are sold in the US markets. That is the main reason that they want to manage that price, because the middlemen are charging a lot of margins over the price that they're buying it from manufacturers, so Indian pharma companies. It's not to stop the cost for Indian pharma companies, but maybe some bit of an impact is what analysts are highlighting, but largely not too much in terms of an impact that we could be seeing going forward. This is maybe a sentimental move that we're seeing. More clarity is something that we're surely awaiting, though.
Indeed, sentiment took a knock today. Thanks a lot, Vinny, for joining in and giving us those insights in terms of a probable reason why the pharma stocks are under pressure. Shilpa, quick word on any of the stocks that are looking jittery or you believe are forming some sort of a base post this fall today in the pharma space. Anything you like, dislike?
Nigel, the sector is actually having a mixed bag, but the kind of fall that we saw today in Lupin, I believe it has come down to a very crucial support zones of 2100 zones, and from there we have seen some sort of upside move. So if we hold this 2100, I believe the stock can again bounce back towards 2300 levels. So a contrary view right now, but I believe risk reward is very favorable for this stock to go upside.
Oh, interesting. All right. Ambareesh, what about you? Do you believe that risk reward will favor you if you look to buy in, or do you believe that there's a big election that's coming up? You rather not get into this. There are other sectors that you like, so you stay away till you get some clarity.
I think I would wait for some clarity, because if you see healthcare costs are shooting up across, globally. And I think it's a clear concern for everyone, and especially the political leaders. So I think it's better to wait for the US elections, see as to what happens, because here again, we're talking of 101 drugs and close to about 20% by volume as far as the Indian pharma exporters are concerned. So, if this goes through, then yes, I think clearly the margins would get affected, no doubt. And at the same time, we have seen quite a few of these stocks doing extremely well over the last 6 months. So if they correct further from here, I suppose we could see at least another 15 to 20% further correction from here. At that point of time, we could take a fresh view.
Awaiting TCS's numbers should be out anytime, at least in the last 2 quarters. They've typically come between 3:30 and 4. So we're expecting those numbers. Now, in the last 3 months, so in the last 4 months, since the beginning of June, the entire IT industry has done very well. The sector is up more than 15% on expectation that growth has bottomed out. And very soon, we will start seeing a recovery. So valuation re-rating has taken place. And now what the street is awaiting in this quarter's numbers are that will we see proof of that? Will the earnings pick up? Does the commentary change for the better? But in the last 4 months, as you can see, Infosys has outperformed TCS. So this is a 12-month chart, but particularly the gap between the two, the outperformance of Infi versus TCS has been more stark in the last 4 months. So from June, Infi's up 35%, while TCS is up close to about 15%. Coming to TCS per se, according to the CNBC-TV18 poll, dollar revenue up 2%, constant currency revenue growth is up 1.1%. Margin expansion should take place quarter on quarter, but could be a bit more muted. What the street will track is commentary. Now, Q2 is gone, it's a stable quarter, but are there signs of a pickup which can confirm the narrative that growth is indeed recovering for FY20, in the second half of the year and even FY26. So awaiting those numbers anytime now. Today, the stock was down about 0.5%, but the entire IT industry was under pressure. Even TCS was down 1.5%. But let's also shift our attention to the mutual fund flows, because flows remain steady in September, with SIP flows crossing the 24,000 crore mark for the first time ever. SIP flows continue to stay steady at 24,500 versus 23,547 in August, while the total equity inflow saw a minor 9% dip month on month. The numbers remain near record levels. Large cap funds saw a minor month on month dip, but mid and small cap funds continue to attract interest, pulling in close to about 3,100 crore each.
Okay, all right. Well, on that note, though, we'll thank both our guests, Ambareesh as well as Shilpa, for joining in and giving us their comments on the indices as well as on individual stocks. For the time being, we'll slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll get you all the market events to watch for tomorrow's trading session. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Tata Group's chairman emeritus Ratan Tata passed away last night at the age of 86. Leaders from the industry, political sphere and wide spectrum came to pay their respect to the industry captain, who is remembered for his global ambitions, his passion for wheels and aeroplanes, and not to forget his social contributions. Listen in to what industry leaders had to say about the man and the legacy he leaves behind.
जीवन ऐसा था कि वहाँ से बहुत कुछ है जो हम सीख सकते हैं। मेरा ये प्रिविलेज था कि मैं उनके साथ काफ़ी मेरी करीबता रही कई सालों तक और बहुत कुछ सीखने मिला मुझे उनसे और आदर्श पुरुष थे कई तरह से। तो हमको उनकी जो ज़िंदगी है सेलिब्रेट करना चाहिए। हमेशा बहुत स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड थे। उनको अपने कंपनीज के बारे में हमेशा सोचते थे 24/7. He's an outstanding person.
What I have learned most importantly is that values in the long term create economic value, and business is a force of good. It can do good, and we have to leave behind. Look at Mr. Tata. After so many years, he left actually his chairmanship in 2012, yet his legacy and yet the sort of legacy that he's left behind continues to inspire not only the group, but I think every industry.
You know, whether it was the memories from childhood, whether it was the hospitality, or whether it was the openness to work together, I think it tells me one thing about the person. He was a very, very sensitive man. You know, a man of extraordinary sensitivity, and I think the world needs more people like that who are sensitive to everything that happens around them.
Ratan Tata really brought India together in terms of India's industry. He created a vision for India to move forward, and that's the respect he gained amongst the entire industry. India will miss him greatly. He was somebody who built a strong and positive brand for India.
We've lost a visionary, we lost a great man, and he's been tremendous for India, for Tata Group, recognized all over the world, very simple, humility, generosity, all of that he had. One person had all the good qualities. We've lost him, and it's a sad day for him.
Any fond memories of yours with him?
I worked with him on a number of occasions. We have excellent memories. I've never seen him lose his temper. I've never seen him lose his cool. And he was always very courteous. And so he's a great man.
A great man, a legend, and he will be remembered forever. But before we wrap, we'll get you the key market events to watch out for to prep you up for tomorrow. Abhishek is here with that. Abhishek.
Well, Rima, to begin with, Great Britain GDP data will come out month on month. It is estimated to be at 0% versus 0.2% that it came out previously. Watch out for RBI data. Now, Forex data will come out. So, it was at record number of $704.9 billion last time around. Industrial production data will come out for India, estimated at 4.8% growth on a YY basis. Manufacturing production, it is estimated to grow at 4.6% on a YY basis. Dividend Coforge will go ex-dividend tomorrow, interim dividend of ₹19 per share. That is what the split will happen tomorrow. In terms of another split, Rajnish Retail, that face value will split from ₹5 to ₹1. Now, watch out for some key results tomorrow that will come out. Just Dial, JP Infra as well as Hathway Cables. Back to you.
Okay, all right, Abhishek. Thanks a lot for that. Well, on that note, we'll wrap up on this edition of Markets Forward. We'll be back with more news and updates on the other side.